This is my final presentation for EDTC 6332, Practicum class for the fall of 2015. My name is Marie Deneny Lotta, and my e-learning course is a beginner course in researching family genealogy. While this may sound like a how-to type of course, the content and subject of researching one's family genealogy actually can be quite daunting, and while many begin the task, only a fraction will go on to effectively master this rewarding experience effectively. There are numerous genealogy websites that offer so many various and even times different services for free, on a limited basis, or for a premium price. In the past and even now, people interested in researching their family history hire genealogists to do this for them. Now, while most historical, archival, and government records have moved to creating digital records of their documents, most any individual can do the task on their own with little more than internet access, a computer, printer, and maybe even a few more tools. The final presentation is scheduled to close at the end of the semester after your Part 2 project is completed. The rationale for this is for you to showcase the best of your work. The submitted product by far has gone through the evaluation process. Whether the evaluator's suggestions or comments are addressed in the current version, their thoughts must be at least taken into consideration. Using the following 6 questions to put together your 15-minute final presentation with appropriate visual aids. What is the terminal or ultimate goal of the project within the time frame of this course? Tell the class what you plan to accomplish. My course was designed to help learners beginning family research develop foundational research skills. The course will start learners on a rewarding journey of discovering their roots without being overwhelmed. The learners will be taught how to properly fill out a family tree chart, how to properly record and organize information, what is the basic terminology, definitions, and files utilized, how to properly record and organize information, and how to add digital files, photos, and records to your family tree. In the past, some individuals collected valuable heirlooms, artifacts, documents, and photos, and kept these in scrapbooks or other precious formats. At times, these documents or even photos were difficult to copy or duplicate. On occasion, some were lost or destroyed due to accidents, fires, or some other tragic circumstance. At times, these collections could not be easily shared with other family members or others who were interested in the content. One of the largest online groups are those individuals utilizing the resources of digital repositories for genealogical research, and it has almost gotten to the point where content curation will be vital to ongoing research. Question number 2. What have you accomplished in your course project? Describe it. I began the course I developed within the Blackboard CourseSites LMS, or Learning Management System. As you can see by this graphic illustration, I utilized the standard class format, as I believed it was best for what I proposed to cover when I developed the pertinent performance objectives for this course. I believe to guide or instruct the learner to be able to independently research their family genealogy, they must learn and develop an understanding of the terminology and requirements genealogists developed years ago, because that is what is available in these online repositories. These sources can be helpful, but like when you do a Google search today that is too basic and encompasses too many possibilities, you can be totally overwhelmed with what you get back. As you can see, I inserted a screenshot of my first class menu, which has the basic elements of my lessons and what they include. I have a syllabus, lessons with introductions, the actual lessons, video presentations, discussion forum questions, assignments, and quizzes. I also included quite a number of forms, fillable PDF documents, and other guides. A task for developing this course has been to deliver the instruction in the manner I wanted to, so that I was not simply doing the typical step-by-step tutorial, but actually describing or defining the why and what for of the process, so that the learner can pick up the research and actually be able to not stumble or hit a roadblock when he or she happened upon something out of the ordinary. Many of these learning experiences happened to me a while back, and I was just recently questioned about what I did, how I learned, and how someone could learn this on their own. In lesson one, I addressed the variety of terms utilized in order to get started in this vital research. Since the midterm debriefing, I completed lesson 2 and all of the required components, objectives, assignments, and other items for this lesson. I also completed lesson 3 and all of the same required components, assignments, objectives, and other items. I prepared all the PowerPoints, video reviews, demonstrations, exercises, and assignments for these lessons. I had finished the instructions and gotten ready for evaluations. This screenshot is the dashboard for the student's entry into the Blackboard Course Sites page, where I had transferred some elements from one course to another. Then I began to get a number of error messages from my computer system at home. In the evaluation process, my volunteers had also come upon some recording errors as well. In order to repair these mistakes, I utilized some other resources I had found when researching tools and content for my course. I initially attempted to recover some previous versions of my files, and to my surprise, my son's computer system was not compatible with a number of my files. I even had trouble working with Office on a Chromebook, and even Office 365 did not read all my files the same. I'm not sure where I went wrong, but due to time restraints, I had to improvise a lot. In order to address the third question, how does the end product differ from your initial plan, I would have to say that number 1, I fixed my task analysis, and number 2, because the family got sick, I lost all of my extra time, and in retrospect I should have planned better, I got off track, behind way too much. This is the home menu with a screenshot of the submenu, which was and is as I had planned. In this view, you can see that each lesson has an introduction, a handout, a video presentation, an assignment, discussion question, and a quiz, as well as lesson resources. It's a bit standard. In order to address the fourth question, tell the class about your rationale for the instructional design by using one of your lessons, modules, units as an example, I would have to say that at the start I imagined that the rationale was based on empirical experiences that I had had when others had asked me for help, or to be guided on how to complete their family group sheets for a similar task. I developed an interest in the subject, and quite a number of years ago when the family sent requests for information in a fillable PDF format. I present to learners the manner in which this idea can help expedite what was once an arduous process, and explain the way to do this themselves. In order for the learner to develop an understanding of the process, I provide a number of vocabulary lists for the specific terminology addressed in that particular lesson. For example, repositories refer to a compiled record, which means a record, usually in book form, consisting of information that has been gathered from original records, other compiled records, and verbal testimony. Examples include the life of Thomas Walpole Tyrrell, or the history of the Wright family, because these books will include information from living people, as well as various record sources, and then the original record, a record created at or close to the time of an event by an eyewitness to the event, like a birth record by a doctor who delivered the baby. And while I provide the definition for a repository as a place, room, or container where something is stored, an online repository is explained as one of the many reliable sources available for this information. This is presented in Lesson 1. Welcome to Family Genealogy Lesson Number 1. Despite debates on the condition and definition of family in recent years, genealogy research, even as a hobby, has experienced explosive growth. It has been said that these individuals that search for their roots experience an empowering and healing effect from the process. We all have individual situations that make our family history unique as well as exceptional. Long ago, genealogists began to utilize similar records, charts, documents, and forms in researching family stories and then creating family histories. Most were shared with others, and they began to develop consistent layouts. In order to best utilize this information, you need to maintain this format. The format is read and processed in the GEDCOM files you will use to share your information and to connect with other family members and extended family branches of your tree. You may not believe you will do that, but for most family historians, they started out small and ended up many generations into the past. In order to understand how to complete these forms, you need to learn the basic terminology used in them. On this slide, I have placed a source summary for family information and a family group record. These forms are always similar, but are not exact in format. You can print these forms out to fill, mail, or give to someone else in your family to complete. I have made fillable forms available for you in the course content folder, as well as in the section where I describe how to complete these forms. These do ask for pretty self-explanatory information. The starting points of a family tree: full names, maiden names, date of birth, date of christening, if available or applicable, date of marriage, date of death, the places these events occurred, and cemetery name, church name, names of previous wives or husbands, the names of children, and their individual information. Later you can place the number of the ancestral chart and or the family unit number. Since wills or probate information may be a source of some of these records, there are places to record that information as well. Some records can leave out some of this information, or the place to record this information. In the source summary for the family, you list and document where you got this. Historically, we got older records from microfilm or in physical repositories that house these types of information. So there are places for that type of record. There is a legend in the upper right-hand corner that lists initial or abbreviations used and what they mean, such as L for land, O for obituary. We can find a lot of information about someone in a printed or online obituary. Let us begin to review the vocabulary we need to understand. An ancestor is a person from whom one is descended. Genealogy, the science of studying about our ancestors through names, dates, and events. Family history, another name for genealogy that goes beyond getting the names and dates of ancestors. Family historians try to find out life stories and little interesting details about their ancestors, such as what color of eyes they had or what kind of jobs they worked. Generation, the average span of time between the birth of parents and that of their children, which is approximately 20 to 25 years. Timeline, a way of charting historical events and dates, often including places. I have a timeline of my maternal grandmother pictured above in the center. The timeline shows her birth and where. It documents her arrival in the United States and her marriage to her husband, my grandfather, and where. Record, a written document, a very important life event such as birth, marriage, or death. Pedigree chart, a chart that indicates a person's descent. The chart on the right is my pedigree chart. Compiled record, a record usually in book form consisting of information that has been gathered from original records, other compiled records, and verbal testimony. Original record, a record created at or close to the time of an event by an eyewitness to the event. The document above, below the vocabulary, is an original record. It is the death certificate of my maternal grandfather. Given name, a person's first name. Surname, a person's last name or family name. Maiden name, a female's surname at birth. Pedigree, an ancestral line or line of descent. Paternal line, the line of descent on a father's side. Maternal line, the line of descent on a mother's side. Archive, a place in a public record or historical document that are preserved and researched. Unlike a library, archive records cannot be checked out, but can be used within that building. Census, a count of a population in a specific place, such as a state or country, a record made of the count. Enumerator, a person who counts. In the case of the census, it is the position filled by the person counting the residents of a particular assigned area. Soundex, an index for the census that is coded by the way a name sounds in addition to its actual spelling. Here I have two census forms attached to my family tree. The 12th census is from 1900, and this page contains my family ancestors and documents where they were living on the date of that census, which was in Bolivar, Missouri. The other section is from a 1940 census in Brownsville, Texas. Naturalization, the process by which an immigrant becomes a citizen. Immigration, the process by which a person leaves the land of his or her birth to obtain citizenship or to live in another country. Above, I have two documents that I discovered in the federal government databases of immigration and naturalization. These documents are records of my maternal grandmother's arrival in the United States at the border here. It states she took a ferry, accompanied by her father, on July 10th, 1915, at the age of 16, and the United States Department of Labor gave her permission to work. There is handwriting on the back of the card that states U.S. card number 211806, issued, marriage certified, some unrecognizable word showing marriage to Marion Hahn, U.S. citizen, 2-26-21, the date of my grandparents got married. I had previously heard that my grandmother immigrated from Mexico following a dreadful smallpox epidemic that wiped out most of her family, except for a sister I briefly saw when I was quite young, and who preceded my grandmother's death by a number of years. Question number 5. What lessons have you learned from this course project? I have learned that the PMBOK, or A Guide to the Project Management Body of Knowledge, which is a book that presents guidelines for project management, would have been extremely beneficial to already know and abide by when I began this project. Planning, changing plans, and preparation are extremely important factors in getting things done as you wish and as you plan to. Adjustments need to be made. It's best to be prepared to do so, timely and appropriately. A calendar and an outline timeline is a vital instrument to follow in this process. Also, I probably have learned that you shouldn't upgrade when you're working on an important project, and you need to plan for technical issues, illnesses, and other unforeseen events. Let yourself get ahead and use that extra time for finishing early and checking your work. Question number 6. To what degree is the identified human performance problem solved? The lessons, along with all the resources I wish to address, are available, but not exactly as I had planned. I'm still making changes and corrections and applying fixes as they become apparent. The idea that the knowledge and understanding of what reports, charts, and forms is asking for is part of the human performance problem addressed in the framework I put together in this course. An extremely important and much easier way to collect and curate family photos and video today is included with the family genealogy lessons. New trees, sites allow for digital artifacts to be attached to the individuals within the family tree, and these tasks are explained and addressed in subsequent lessons. I discovered that many people wish to organize and share their information with their family members. The subject is a very popular one, and many people need help and guidance in order to accomplish this task. When I complete the various issues, finish making corrections within the coursework I developed, I hope to provide a good and vital solution to those individuals. Thank you so much for your time and attention to my final presentation. I look forward to your feedback, thoughts, and suggestions. Thank you.